Hey folks, Valentin the Mad here, and today we'll be looking at the response mechanics in Doom: The Dark Ages. The main question I had before the game came out was, are the aftermaths gonna be better than they were in the previous games? The answer is yes, to a degree, and in this video we'll be having a look at that and the other aspects of the character responses. Let's get right into it. As always, beginning with the body damage, and in this part I am using the console command tweak, just so that at the end we can have a nice look at the variations on the small guys, and those are very nice. I do have to admire the work of the character artists, because it really is beautiful, and it's a shame that you can't really see it all too well in the gameplay, because to really see it, you know, it's gory, you have to shoot the small guys from afar. Because when you blast them from up close, what you get is just cutting in half, disassembly, and just a very generic, boring, frankly lame response. And to get things like this, you have to blast them from afar. Which is unfortunate. And by the way, as you can see, you can have characters survive. I think just some characters survive loss of limbs. Hey guys, I just want to showcase Gore, can you please not attack me for like a few minutes? So as you can see, they can survive loss of limbs, and he's basically harmless, you know, like... There was this Twitter account, can you pet the dog, I think it was called? Or can I pet the big fat demon? Fortunately not, but... should be petable. And by the way, one issue that this game has, you could see it very well on him. I was shooting his horn, and I basically had body parts come off at different places, so... The other horn came off, not the one I was shooting. I really need some health points not to die. Anyway, I was shooting his horn. The other one came off. I think some, yeah, this part on his neck as well. I think even a chunk somewhere here. No, guess not. Yep, so... it is an issue that the game has. Anyway, back to our petable dog. So, we have a nice look at the variations, and perhaps I actually want to see, can we showcase the non-dismembering damage. Yeah, so once again, as you can see, I shot here, so the blood splatter appeared mostly where it should, but for whatever reason this chunk came off as well. Also, shot here, this chunk came off here as well. So the game very much does have this issue. And another issue that it has is the armored guys. Before the armor HP is done, basically no damage can be done to them whatsoever, no visual damage. See, so now his armor came off and now I can damage him and all of that. And now I have it... oh, I don't even have it glitched out yet. So where was the non-dismembering response? Here we go, yeah, here we go. So, as you can see, there is a non-dismembering response at the point of impact. It isn't really great looking or anything, but you do have it. And that counts. Yeah, but I think the brain guy is still gonna be glitched. Yeah. Anyway, let's admire all of the mess. So as you can see, we have a whole bunch of variations mapped out on those guys. Across the limbs, across various body parts. Let's see the back. So yeah, like particularly this one, exposing the shoulder blade, is actually quite brutal. This one here, just a chunk of the arm gone, chunk of the big fat chunk of the leg gone. Basically you can only make bone broth, you can't, there's no steak to be had from that. And as I mentioned, the big issue here is that if you want to admire those, once again the shoulder exposed and it's just absolutely beautiful. And yeah, and it isn't multiplayer damage, it is pre-made variations. Very nice looking pre-made variations, props to the artists that were working on them. If you guys are watching, I do appreciate the work that you did. But as I was saying, in order to appreciate them, you have to blast them from far away. Because when you blast them from up close, you just get the boring response of disassembly. Here you can actually see a certain issue of it. As you can see, we don't have organs modeled out. Not a big deal, but you can usually see it clearly on the bigger guys, so as you can see, he's basically made of bones and meat. There are no organs inside. And you know that thing, it does make a difference. Can I expose perhaps a new variation there? I shoot him post-mortally. I think I did have something exposed. And you know, if you've played Vermintide 2, one of the things it had going for it is just absolutely beautifully modeled red insides. If you remember that, or you can watch the review I made of it at the time, the organs, the insides were just modeled absolutely beautifully, and it does make a difference, you know. If you have like modeled insides and organs, or if it's just not even fat, it's kind of like meat. We don't have a great degree of fat here, it's mostly red, so basically guys, this confirms he's entirely muscular, it's just that is the shape of his muscles. Maybe a little bit of fat, but really not a great degree of fat. Of adipose tissue. It's mostly muscle. Lean, round-shaped muscle mass. And so what you end up with is the small guys being, unfortunately for the most part, pretty weightless. They're basically made to be just fodder, unfortunately. And you know, they actually do have some cool responses made for them. As we've seen the variations, and they actually have some really cool death animations as well. I think actually the coolest death animations in the game are for those characters specifically. But they are made to be weightless fodder because, for the most part, what you're gonna be seeing is just this boring, generic disassembly. Whack 'em with a shield, just gibbed. Blast them from up close, just gibbed. Use perhaps a more advanced weapon. Once again, just gibbed. And that's what you're gonna be seeing for the most part. Then you have the big characters that you can't really call weightless, but with the mechanics as we have them, it doesn't feel like you are tearing them apart either. And not gonna give them really much crap for it because at the moment, no game does it well. There is no game that I think of I can say like this game does responsive big characters well, just nobody does it. And when that is what you have, basically weightless fodder, big characters that are, let's say, semi-responsive at best. When that is what you have, I think the big focus should be, and I've kind of talked about that in the review of Space Marine 2, is Aftermath. being able to really mess up evocation. Let's just get this guy out of here. Being able to really come to a clean location and leave it in a state of complete mess with bodies, body parts and blood. And what we have here is the body parts and the blood, so we do have a step in the correct direction aftermath wise compared to 2016 and Eternal, because we do have the Gibbs stay, we do have the blood stay. But as you could see, the main component of the character just vanishes, and those guys we have here are just pre-made bodies. Basically in this place, every full pre-made body is just a it's just that, a pre-made body. So we do have a step in the correct direction of transforming environments, but yeah. Bodies are still considered by the game's logic to be active AI, so the game doesn't say difference between a ragdoll that is just laying there and the character actually running at you. So even mods have a pretty limited capacity in the aftermath that they can deliver. Yeah, like the game considers this guy before he vanished to be the same as those guys. In the end, when that is the design you have, this division of small, weightless fodders and big, semi-responsive characters, it's really important to get the aftermath right, and the game is still not there. Those guys actually last for a little bit longer than the other characters. Most usually vanish very quickly and even sometimes vanish during their death animation. Here is a clip of that. Anyway, let's get to the spilling mechanics themselves. So, come here, come to a clean location, please. Come to a clean location, please. We have to showcase the spinning. Oh, we kinda have it here, so what is gonna vanish is basically those things, yeah. Here we go, they're already gone. And in the case of this specific character, and I think perhaps even only him, we do actually have a big chunk of him remain. Haven't seen a chunk this percentage of a character remain on anyone else. So what you basically have is the response stain on the impact. Those will get activated and those will stay. And in this case actually it does look better than what you usually have, so I do want to showcase what you usually have. Do I have perhaps a volunteer here? Alright, I had no willing participants there, so I'll make experiments on those guys. And what you're gonna be having for the most part is pretty much this, just a bunch of stains in kind of a circular pattern. As you can see, not a great deal of detail. And actually, the guy we previously showcased on was one of the more detailed results you can get in the game, because for the most part, it's basically gonna be this. A circle of stains. And you know, it isn't impressive, not gonna blow you away by any means, but in a game like this where there is not a great degree of detail in any individual enemy, just having this kind of staining pile up, you know what the hell, let it be. But for the full aftermath effect, you should have lasting bodies as well. And you know, if lasting bodies was indeed a factor in this game, I would actually have kind of the following. I'd probably have less stains on the initial impact, and then when the ragdoll flies away, because occasionally the ragdoll will fly away. Let's see if I can perhaps showcase on him. Probably not, you get it. I'll try to break this shield and get him to fly away without cutting him in half if I use something bigger. Alright, here we go, so. Also I blast him away, I generally get the response stains here. So I would have perhaps a milder response on the impact, and where his main chunk landed, I'd have just a few kind of splats spawn there as well. And once again, for a better aftermath, with less of a performance impact, I'd have the body freeze as well. So that you wouldn't get a situation of half a character or a full kind of character with some missing chunks laying on a clean surface. Now, that would be important if the game had resting bodies, which it didn't, so it's basically all just theoretical talk. And one more thing to note about the aftermath is the 2 times I personally saw a demon body remain was this instance. And in the mech level. You know, in this level you kill many more demons like him and they all vanish, but the one killed in the cutscene remains, so go figure. And we end with the animations, and those are gonna be pretty basic, so we'll have some response animations. There is gonna be a stun state. Hopefully I can show on him. Here we go, so but here is the difference between this game and Eternal. So in Eternal, executions, aka Gore kills, was a pretty big factor, actually. And here, for the most part, there aren't gonna be any of those Gore kills. What you're gonna be having is basically the character in a stun state, and then you whack him with whatever melee means you have. It can be the shield, it can be your leg, it can be the mace on a chain that you have. Here we go, we have a kick to finish him. So don't really have any strong feelings for it, one way or the other. Just kind of given how big of a feature it was in Eternal, I do find it to be kind of interesting, and so where you will actually have some of those Gore kill-like finishers are the upgrade boss characters. When you finish them, you pull their heart out, and that's how you get your upgrade. And there was this one instance, I saw that I basically got a regular character and had him in the stun state, and I just kind of beheaded him using the shield, like a chainsaw. And I think it was pretty much the only time I saw something like this. And I believe he was a regular character, so I have no idea how, what and why, but that happened when for the most part it doesn't. Otherwise the responses are gonna be pretty basic. In conclusion, with the way it is designed, the focus in my opinion should be on the aftermath. We do have a step in that direction with the lasting blood and body parts, but the vanishing bodies issue still persists. As I mentioned, there is a workaround on PC for that. I have a separate video on it, but that isn't free from issues as the game still wasn't made with that in mind. So I can't recommend it for a responsive experience, but maybe in the next game we'll figure out the bodies thing too. Ideally though, what I would personally appreciate the most is for a possible next game to be something closer to Brutal Doom, where there is weight and a great degree of detail to every enemy, basic ones too, and where there is very much a focus on full aftermath as well. And definitely a more gritty, grounded mood and atmosphere. Eternal and the Dark Ages went very far into a gamey feel, with the combat flow, that enemy design I mentioned, and the various bright, colorful effects and indicators. So, a more 2016-like setting and level design and much weightier gameplay. That is it for today. Do let me know how you feel in the comment section and subscribe. There's a lot more gore and destruction still to discuss. I'll see you all in the next one.